This video will take a look at a segmented bar graph. Segmented bar graph gives basically the same information as a pie graph would, except instead of displaying it as slices of a pie, it displays it as parts of a rectangle. We're going to use an example of the number of countries in the United Nations by continent. The first step is to find the total number of countries that are in the United Nations. And when you add up all these values, you end up with 192. Then I need to find the percent that each continent has in the United Nations. For example, for North America, I would take 23 and divide it by 192. When I do that, I end up with 12%. If I did the same thing for the rest of these, I'm going to end up with South America having 6%, Europe having 22%, Oceania having 7%, Africa 28%, and Asia has 24%. Now, whenever you're doing percentages, either for a pie graph or a segmented bar graph, one thing you need to do is make sure your percentages add up to 100. If you add up all these percentages, in this case, it ends up being just 99%. And that will happen sometimes due to rounding. Sometimes you'll end up with 101%. So what you want to do is take a closer look, and you want to find one of these that you originally rounded down and round it up. In this case, I'm going to round Asia up to 25%. That way I have a total of 100% for my graph. So now I'm going to come over to my bar graph, and I'm going to start by labeling 0 at the bottom and 100 at the top for the percentage. It works best if you count up by 10%. That will give you a good idea of where to put the lines as you're dividing up the bar. So if I said that was 50%, I'm going to go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So I'm going to start with North America, which was 12%. So I'm going to go just above 10 to 12, and I'm going to make a bar. I'm going to write inside that North America and put the percentage. The next one is going to be South America, which is 6%. So that goes up to 18. So I'm going to stay under 20. I'm going to put a bar there. I'm going to go South America, and I'm going to put in the percentage there, which is 6%. The next one is Europe, which is 22%. So if I add 22, that brings me up to a total of 40. So that will be Europe, and that will be 22%. The next one we're going to look at is Oceania. So that will bring me up to 47 total. So I'm going to put Oceania there and then put in 7%. Then the next one we're going to do is Africa. That's 28%. So that's going to bring me all the way up to 75. So 50, 60, 75 is right there. And that's going to be Africa. And I'm going to put in my 28% there. And then the rest of it, the last 25%, is Asia, which is 25%. Now, just like with any other display, we want to make sure we put a title on this. So we'll just say countries in the UN. And then this is just percentage on this side. And that's how you do a segmented bar graph.